And welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. Today we're looking at NFL draft prospects. This time we are looking at the offensive side of the ball, and we're going to be looking at the wide receiver position. And so we're looking at three players that I think the Washington Commanders should take a chance on if they are available in this upcoming draft. And so let's start with player number one, and that is Tory Horton of Colorado State University. And so he actually played for Nevada for 2 seasons, and then he played for Colorado State University for 3 seasons. And so this is a player that got progressively better. He went from 20 receptions all the way up to 96 receptions in 2023. His 2024 season got cut short due to an injury, but just looking at his most productive seasons, and so looking at 2022 and 2023, in 2022, he had 71 receptions, over 1,000 yards there, and a 15.9 average with 8 touchdowns. And then in 2023, he had 96 receptions, over 1,000 yards again, and 11.8 average and 8 touchdowns there. And what I loved about that is that his production as far as scoring touchdowns went up, because in Nevada, he had 2 campaigns where he had 5. Then he had 2 seasons at 8. 2024 got cut short, and he was actually on pace to maybe surpass what he did in 2023. And so, one of the reasons why I like this addition to the Washington Commanders, if he's available in the NFL draft, is, look, he can win underneath. I think that when you turn on the tape, you see a player that can move the sticks. I think that there were several times where he won underneath, whether it was zone or man coverage. And so I think he understands how to run those routes against the middle linebackers. He can certainly get open against the corners in tight situations, and he'll get contested footballs over the middle of the field. There were several times where there were 2-3 defenders around him, but he was able to be reliable and win underneath. And so I like that. Number two, I think another thing that he does well is he just really turns a negative play into a positive. There were several times where he would catch the football. It looked like it was going to be a negative gain, but he's very elusive, and he would find a way to get some positive gains. And because he's so elusive, it really shows you that maybe he could turn maybe some of the short routes into something big. And so maybe he could be a player that could maybe win as far as a yards after catch type of player. And so that is another reason why I would like to have him. And then he plays with juice. Like, he definitely plays with a lot of attitude out there. I love the swagger. That is something that you see on tape. I think that that's absolutely something that we would love to see on our offense. And just as a possession type of receiver, you would love to have him, for a guy that just, you need a sure catch on a down or whatnot. He's going to get it done for you. But he also can be a contributor as far as the special teams. He was pretty good as far as a punt returner. So that was a good added bonus. So not only can he play, just the wide receiver position and really any position, I think he could play inside out. And then he also can contribute on special teams as well. So that was good to see. And just going back to, his 2024 season, and when he had the knee injury, he's been out, and he went to the NFL Combine and he ran a 4.4 40. So that was pretty good. And that was just, I guess, coming back from this injury. And then he also had a 37.5 vertical jump as well. So that is very good, considering that he had a season ending knee injury. And so, look, this is a player that I definitely think that it's for sure a player that is a gem. I think that it's a player that, given the right situation, given the opportunity, obviously this player would have to take advantage of it. But I think that he could be a player that could maybe be a steal, especially when it comes to being a volume receiver. Like, I think that, really the ceiling for him is a player that maybe operates a lot like a Julian Edelman or like a Wes Welker type of player, a player that can win over the middle of the field. And I think that he has maybe even more maybe explosiveness as far as maybe getting downfield and maybe kind of lifting the top off of a defense or something like that as well. terrific at body control as well. So I think that there were several times where like the sideline catches and things like that, that was great. Him coming out of the out and curls, like, man, he understands leverage. He understands how to set up cornerbacks and things like that. So I think he would be a very solid selection for the Washington Commanders if they take a chance on him. And so next up, another player that I certainly would like the Washington Commanders to take a look at, and I think he maybe has the highest ceiling out of all these wide receivers that we're going to talk about here, but that is going to be Elic Ayomanor. And so he played for Stanford. And look, man, he's a guy that he probably projects to be, I think, a wide receiver one, maybe wide receiver two from day one. I think that he maybe can come in and he would probably be the one that could be maybe an immediate starter for you. I think I was looking at one of the draft profiles that suggests that maybe he could go as early as the second round. And what you love about him is this is a guy that, look, he has a big body. He knows how to box out defenders here. And this guy is, look, he's 6'2", 210, just very active hands, man. I love the way that he competes for footballs and things like that. And he's only played for Stanford in, I think, 2 seasons, so 2023 and 2024. He had 62 receptions in 2023, 63 in 2024. He had over 1,000 yards in 2023. He had 831 yards in this 2024 season, 6 touchdowns in both of those. And he led them as far as the receiving is concerned. 14 out of his 24 games played there. He had 6 100-yard games as well. And look, this is a guy that if you're talking about you want somebody that could be like a good red zone type of threat, I think that he could certainly be a player that would really excel at the fades, the back shoulder throws and things like that. And so that certainly would be something that I could see Jaden Daniels would want to utilize, especially in the red zone. And I think that immediately he would be an impact receiver, I think, over the middle of the field for like these intermediate routes. And he does show that he could maybe take the lid off of a defense. Like, I think that he has enough speed to go downfield for some deep balls. And the way that he fights for the football with good body control, like, I think that he reminds me a lot of a Mike Williams, but a little bit more athletic. And so, he needs a little bit more work, I guess, on his route tree, just kind of looking into him a little bit more. That's one of the things that he's obviously going to need to work on. But that's really any of these NFL draft prospects. I don't care what position that they play, they're going to need to do some more work. And so I just think as a wide receiver, yes, you have to get a lot more technically sound at the next level, but there's a lot of things that you see on tape and athletically that would certainly translate immediately on Sunday. And so next, another player here that I think the Washington Commanders might take a chance on. And so this one, actually, I took a look at this, and this was on Rigo's Rag. This was Dean Jones who wrote about this, and he did a 7-round mock draft. And he mentioned this player as maybe the Washington Commanders taking him in the 6th round. Did a little, just looking as to who he was, but it is going to be Dont'e Thornton Jr. out of Tennessee. And so, look, this guy is going to be, I think, the speedster. Like, this guy is a guy that can get down the field, stretch the field. I think that, man, he won a lot on skinny post. He won a lot as far as deep routes and things like that. In fact, looking at his draft profile, he led the nation with 50-plus grabs. He had 6 of those. He averaged 21.9 as far as the average on the catches and things like that. I mean, he was just making huge play after play. That was his thing. Number 2, I think the thing with him is he's great at tracking the football. And so, like, if you are throwing it into, a pocket, a window, I think that he's a player that can definitely go out there and win and get this thing. And you have to love that with Dont'e Thornton. Look, he is 6'5", okay? And so 6'5", 214, that's like comparable to like maybe a Mike Evans. He's 6'5", all right? And so when you look at Mike Evans, you look at the fact that, how he's able to win in the end zone with these fades and things like that, I think that you could see that being maybe the case for Dont'e Thornton if he's able to kind of grow into that role. I think that another thing that he really does well is that he does a great job as far as shielding the defenders. And so if you do throw it into tight windows and things like that, he knows how to use his frame to box out players. And so I could see that being a real plus for the Washington Commanders. And considering that we lost a deep threat in Dyami Brown, then I do think that Dont'e Thornton would definitely fit a real need for this team. I think that the issue here for him is going to be he just has to really extend a little bit more with the route tree. The only thing that I saw him run was a lot of deep routes and a lot of these deep posts and things like that. But his speed is for real. You go to the NFL draft combine, he ran a 4.340 and he can roll. And so he can run for sure, but can he develop into other things into the route tree? Because that would mean he would become like an exceptional player for the Washington Commanders. And so anyway, let me know in the comments here what you're thinking. Do you think that the Washington Commanders would take any of these wide receivers, whether it is Tory Horton, whether it is, Elic Ayomanor, or do you think that they take Dont'e Thornton Jr. here out of Tennessee? I think that all of these players really, are going to be a project getting to us or really anybody in the NFL. And I think that that's the case with the NFL draft. You're taking a chance and you don't know if it's going to be a hit or not. But I'm just banking on the fact that these players can get to their ceiling. And if they do get to the ceiling, I think that they would help the Washington Commanders maybe immediately if given the opportunity. So let me know in the comments what you're thinking. And as we always say, go Commanders, and I will see you in the next one. All right, peace.